up, though?
The 2006 Volleyball Incident. On July 2nd, 2017, an anonymous user posted a thread on 4chan's paranormal board saying, "How does one live after taking the red pill on the 2006 Volleyball Incident?"
What?
Now, if you're wondering what that incident was, it's a strange and disturbing story. The post was referring to a supposed mass shooting where a gunman killed 14 people during a high school
Killing one person is already bad. 14? 14. I really want to ask some people, like, what the hell be going through y'all heads when y'all be clucking people up and killing them? Like, you're killing, like, they can't get no life back. Like, what be going on in y'all heads?
Volleyball game in either South Dakota or Nebraska back in 2006. But here's where things get strange. If you search for any information about it online, you'll find nothing. No news articles, no official casualty reports, nothing. Just conspiracy theory websites and the occasional Reddit post asking if it even happened. It's like the whole event either never existed or was somehow erased from history. But despite the silence online, there are many people who claim they remember hearing about it. Some even say they were at Mount Rushmore around that time and heard a report about it on the radio. For a long time, the only evidence of the incident on the internet was this still frame from a home video that was supposedly taken just before the incident with the date September 27, 2006 embedded on it. That is, until some ordinary gamer, a YouTuber who often dives into dark web rabbit holes, discovered more evidence. While browsing the Late Nights forum on a 4chan-like site, he came across the gruesome pictures of a bloody school gym that were allegedly taken soon after the shooting had already happened.
So right here, let's go down a little bit over here. They've got 2006 volley. Oh my God. Oh, we're gonna have to blur this one. Jesus Christ, that's actually like death footage. I think I remember this. I was searching around for some sort of proof of this happening, and apparently it's a snippet from a home video. Oh my God. We have to blur that out. I gotta make sure we note that, blur it real quick. Let me add that to the notes here. Jesus. It's like an actual straight up bloody massacre. It's like VHS recorded. This has to be from like a movie.
No.
There's no way. This has to be from like some movie. It's crazy as hell. That it's got like a CBI not for release. Like I assume CBI stands for like some sort of a governmental organization or something. That is so messed up. I feel like I should have known this or something. I don't even know if that's like a conspiracy. How is that a conspiracy? It's actually like death foot, unless it's from like some movie or something that we don't know about. Jesus Christ.
Hey man, the ones that know what happened 100% are the ones that were there. You know, that saw it firsthand. And obviously, like, some of the government officials and shit and stuff. But to have something like that happen at a school and there's nothing on the internet, yeah, they try to erase that. Hell. Oh my God.
That is actually the most chilling thing I've seen. We're like 5 minutes into this recording, and already it's just like death footage has hit the building.
In the bottom right corner was the text, "CBI not for release," which I'll do my best to show you while blurring everything else out. This has led to some pretty wild theories being spread all over the internet. According to the most popular ones, the incident did happen, but it was covered up by the American government.
Oh, God.
As the story goes, the government was trying to assassinate someone who was attending this high school volleyball game. Things got out of hand, however, and a lot of the young volleyball players were caught in the crossfire. And since this would have caused tons of backlash from the public, the government instructed the news media to not talk about the story and also paid the victims' families to keep them quiet.
Oh my God.
However, while the US government is no stranger to covering up the truth, I have to admit, this one is quite far-fetched. Keeping something this big under wraps for so long feels pretty out there. At some point, you'd think the truth would slip out. A somewhat more reasonable theory is that this is a classic case of the Mandela effect, where large groups of people collectively misremember something. And coincidentally enough, I actually did find a similar incident that happened in 2006 in that region. In the Platte Canyon High School situation, 53-year-old Dwayne Roger Morrison took 7 female students hostage, attacked them, and ended up shooting one of them. This also took place on September 27, 2006, which is the same date on which the alleged photo was taken before the incident. Its location in Colorado might also explain why people from the Midwest remember hearing about it on the news. But there are some major differences. Most notably, the Platte Canyon incident had nothing to do with a volleyball game, and there was only one death. But in saying all of that, the most likely scenario is that all of this is a hoax. While researching this incident, I came across an interesting post on the forum Above Top Secret from 2017. In this post, the OP was talking about creating a hoax in which multiple school shootings happened in 2006 in tiny towns, but any information relating to these incidents has been mysteriously erased from the public record. But if that's the case, the images that some ordinary gamer came across, where did they come from? Considering it's been over 7 years since this first contraction on the internet, it's unlikely we'll ever know the answer to this disturbing internet rabbit hole.
Oh my god.
Grave robbing for morons.
What?
On August 8, 2014, a user by the name Simon Pred J posted a video on YouTube titled Grave Robbing for Morons. This was a digital re-upload of a very old VHS video, an extremely chilling one at that. In it, a young man goes into disturbing detail explaining step by step how to rob graves and sell the remains on the black market.
Grab it by the eyes or the nose. You pull it out, put your finger all the way in. There's nothing there that will hurt you at all. Or you have to make sure that there's nothing that can hurt you. Do not be afraid. Pull it out like that. Do not pull it by the teeth, or else it'll break out like that, and you will have holes.
Oh my
What
god.
makes this video even more unsettling isn't just its content, but the mystery surrounding it. No one knows who the man in the video is. To this day, his identity remains unknown, and no one has come forward to claim responsibility. This has left the internet in two fiercely opposing camps. Some believe this is authentic footage of a real grave robber. Others argue it's an obscure horror short crafted purely for shock value. Surprisingly, I came across evidence that supports both sides of the argument while researching this topic. One undeniable fact, however, is that the original video is extremely old. The earliest mention of its title, Grave Robbing for Morons, I found on the internet was a now defunct online store for horror VHS tapes called Shocking Videos. This website listed the tape for sale in April of 2003, stating, "What we have here is genuine camcorder footage of a drunken teenage stutterer giving a half-hour lecture on how to steal body parts from graveyards for fun and profit while holding a fresh, rotting skull in his hands." That said, the original video is likely from the late 80s. We can clearly see the VHS box for the 1987 Evil Dead 2 movie 5 minutes and 43 seconds into the video. And to narrow it down even more, there's an issue of Horror FX magazine visible in the bottom left corner at the same time. This specific cover was a part of a unique Fangoria horror magazine edition released in July 1989, which means the video was probably shot around that year. The horror memorabilia scattered throughout the footage implies that whoever created this video might have been a die-hard horror fan just trying to make something creepy for the thrill of it. And while most of the gruesome advice given in the video feels very authentic, like describing ways to remove the skull from a body that hasn't fully decomposed yet, there are also sections that seem extremely goofy. Like when the host suggests knocking out witnesses so they think it was all just a dream.
Never leave witnesses. If you have to knock them out so that way they think it's a dream.
This gives further credence to the theory that the subject doesn't have any real grave robbing experience and is just making it all up for the video. On the other hand, some people argue that the skull he's showing in the video is far too detailed to be fake. As for the inconsistency in the advice, that could be explained by the theory that this was likely his first time robbing a grave, and that he was simply making things up to seem more knowledgeable on the topic than he actually was.
Robbing a grave, I feel, is what's it? Blasphemy? Yeah. God not gonna put up with that. The Adidas God's not gonna put up with that. I'm not gonna put up with that.
But this is where things start getting really eerie. Toward the end of the tape, the guy almost mumbles his full name, but stops himself before saying his entire last name.
Okay, this was made by Anthony. Well, as a matter of fact, let's forget the last name.
And in 1999, a man named Anthony Casamassima was arrested in New York for stealing an expensive stained glass window from a cemetery. There was a real possibility that this was the same person who made the grave robbing for Morons guide. That being said, there are a few inconsistencies that say otherwise. For instance, I did not find any charges against Anthony Casamassima that mentioned him desecrating bodies. He was more into stealing valuable artifacts like stained glass. And more importantly, Casamassima was 40 when he was arrested in 1999. If he made the tape, he would have been around 30 at the time. However, given the young appearance of the video's subject, that seems highly unlikely. I also found a couple more theories as well, but most of them lead to dead ends. One such theory claims the guy in the video might be Craig A. Bradley, who was arrested in 1995 for stealing human remains from a cemetery in upstate New York. Craig would have been around 24 when the grave robbing video was filmed, which fits with the young appearance of the guy in the tape. Plus, he even looks a bit like him. However, the issue with this theory is that Craig doesn't have the stutter that was prominent in the original video.
Winter months I'm laid off.
Well, still, lock him up on susness too. The hell? He look a little sus, cluck, sus, hoots, sus hoots. He looking like all of that. Look, why his eyes look like that?
It's winter months. I don't usually pay.
Dig for you and everything. So you dig and your friend digs, and then it's another friend digs. You have to find someplace really secluded.
Well, it's possible to grow out of a stutter. I did. I had a big stuttering problem.
That way there's no interruptions, okay?
Now, he could have faked the stutter in the original video for some reason. However, people on the internet find that extremely unlikely given how real it feels. Grave robber or actor, the stutter is real. I've known several people with really bad stutters, and it's such a specific, uncontrollable behavior that makes it hard to fake. This kid's stutter feels unique and authentic. I've never seen an actor in a movie fake a stutter that felt this real. It's possible one day the person seen in the video will come forward with the truth, but for now we have no idea who the person is or whether or not this extremely realistic looking grave robbing video is real.
Either way, grave robbing.
Strange sounds in the sky. Over the past 50 plus years, there have been numerous reports of people hearing mysterious sounds coming from the sky. In some cases, the mysterious noise resembles the sound of screeching metal, like someone dragging heavy metal furniture across the floor. However, the most commonly reported noise is a low-frequency hum that persists in the area.
How do we not know that sound effects? How the hell? What?
Those who can hear these sounds describe them as omnipresent and extremely annoying. And according to the BBC, the humming noise has been linked to at least one person ending their own life in the UK. However, while there are likely many legit reports of people hearing a mysterious humming, which we'll get to in a bit, many of the claims are either fake or can be explained quite easily. For instance, the metallic screeching noise could simply be from a nearby railroad with a long freight train rounding a corner and causing vibrations. Some of these trains are incredibly lengthy and can take several minutes to pass. Similarly, in another video you can hear what sounds like an extremely loud trumpet.
Alright, now that I remember, I kind of remember hearing that. And then some people on social media was like, "Oh, that's like Revelations or something. Oh, that's like the end times or something." I don't, you know. But I'm just saying, like, these could be sound effects. I don't know. People are really good at that, like editing those sound effects.
The original poster of this video titled this as a judgment trumpet, referring to the divine trumpet described in the Christian faith. However, given the poor weather conditions in the footage, it's likely just a malfunctioning tornado siren, like this.
I'm still hauling
A
ass.
few of these videos are also outright faked, with the mysterious sounds being edited in to generate views.
Okay. Come on, white hair.
Notice how the birds around the area appear completely unaffected by the loud, ominous noise, which would be unlikely if the sound was genuinely overwhelming the environment. Birds have sharper hearing than humans, and they would likely react. That said, there are still thousands of reports from people who can't be easily debunked or labeled as fake. Unlike the examples I've shown so far, the vast majority of seemingly authentic reports involve the persistent, low-frequency hum. This strange phenomenon seems to trace back to Bristol, England in the late 1970s. The city council received hundreds of complaints from residents about a strange noise that was audible at night. One local newspaper even asked readers in the city, "Have you heard the hum?" and almost 800 people said they had.
Damn.
French scientists back then proposed that the sound might originate from the ocean, suggesting that continuous waves could be vibrating the ocean floor. Now, this explanation might have been true for Bristol, but as time went on, more and more people around the world started reporting these disturbing humming noises. And it appears the Bristol hum is still present to this day. There are many theories that attempt to explain the bizarre global phenomenon. And these can get into some truly out there conspiracies, like aliens or secret underground civilizations in the hollow earth. However, the most plausible explanation I found suggests that these sounds are more connected to the listeners themselves rather than their surroundings. Things like hypersensitive ears and early signs of hearing issues like tinnitus could be a major contributor. Another possible reason could be the increasing levels of anxiety and stress. A BBC researcher also noted that she only heard the hum when she was exhausted and stressed out, which further supports the notion of this mysterious hum being a psychosomatic or stress-related phenomenon. During my research, I even found the video claiming to capture the strange humming sound. But when I watched it, there was nothing unusual, just regular environmental noise. It's entirely possible that the person who recorded it was hearing something from inside their body, misinterpreting it as an external sound, which further supports the stress-related theory.
What?
However, this doesn't explain the hundreds or even thousands of other videos that do include the hum. And given the endless amounts of possibilities for each individual case, I doubt we'll get a concrete answer anytime soon. John Lang, Fresno Police. On March 20th, 2015, a YouTube channel by the name Lang Marine uploaded a 3.5-minute video titled Fresno LE Harassment, Ford Crew Cab that stalked me and my residence numerous times. The video showed the same vehicle driving past the camera twice in 3 minutes.
Damn.
The uploader was a 51-year-old former Marine named John Lang living in Fresno, California. The video footage came from a security camera he had installed outside his home. And in the description of this video, he provided much-needed context behind the oddly disturbing encounter. According to Lang, he was critical of the way Fresno PD and Fresno Fire utilized their budgets online. So now they were stalking and harassing him in retaliation, and the Ford truck in the video belonged to either the Fresno Police Department or the Sheriff's Office. The next day, he posted another video of a man walking his dog outside his home. The video showed the dog and his owner stopping outside Lang's home for a few seconds and moving on. Nothing too unusual. However, Lang claimed that the person in the video
That is unusual. Because there's 57 other houses over here. You gotta stop in front of mine? Get your cock ass out of here.
Plainclothes police officer who was conditioning Lang's dog so that it wouldn't attack if the same officer broke into his home later. Over the next 10 or so months, Lang continued posting videos of shady activity captured by a security camera, like a guy in plain clothes coming up to his home, taking a look and walking away immediately.
What the hell?
Or a police truck stopping outside his home for a few seconds and then driving away.
What?
However, the most disturbing of these videos showed a mysterious black van stopping outside his home, filming it with a massive camera for about 30 seconds and quickly driving away. Lang claimed that the device in their hand was a thermal imaging sensor, and they were trying to determine whether or not he was home.
Oh, God.
By January of 2016, Lang was fully convinced that the Fresno police were planning an assassination. On the 16th of January, he posted a video about a cleaning company van parked outside his home. In the description of the video, he wrote, "If I turn up missing or dead tomorrow, remember this van. I think I seen a couple of guys sneak out the side door and into the building when it was parked in the carport this afternoon. I've been causing the city of Fresno a lot of problems recently, which I now regret." Unfortunately, this would be the last video Lang would post on YouTube, because just a few days later, firemen found him dead inside a burning home with multiple stab wounds on his body. This was sad news for people who were following the story.
Shit. After like the first couple of times I noticed people just outside my house, I'm out of here. I'm out of there. Tough. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Your Adidas. I mean, your security on that house is ass. Trash. Your ass is gone. Your ass is trash, man. You should have had some Adidas protection. You should have had some Adidas security. But you didn't. You clucked up. That's where you clucked up at. And they had a Black Friday sale going on.
However, this was only the beginning of a much bigger conspiracy. You see, when the news of his death initially broke, the reports stated that he had a few stab wounds on his upper back as well. If this were true, it would validate all of Lang's worries about getting assassinated. This would also put the Fresno PD as the #1 suspect for his murder. However, when the Fresno coroner released Lang's autopsy report, it only mentioned 3 self-inflicted stab wounds on his chest, and there was no mention of any stab wounds on his back. Was the earlier report a mistake, or were the Fresno police trying to hide their crime? This inconsistency led to tons of backlash and even a petition to reopen his case, but it remained closed. To this day, the John Lang case sits as a mystery. Was he actually getting stalked, or was he just severely mentally ill and paranoid? From my research, the answer seems to be a mix of both. First and foremost, it's worth mentioning that the Fresno police are well known for being ripe with corruption. A Reddit user mentioned a story he knew about the PD, stating, "I mean, my friend's dad was FPD for decades, and Jerry Dyer showed up with some officers and threatened him back in the late 90s, so it wouldn't surprise me if the cops were intimidating this dude." So, did the Fresno PD retaliate against Lang? Maybe. What's more likely is that Lang was getting more paranoid and losing his mind over time. From what I can see, the man walking his dog is doing just that, walking his dog. And claiming that he was somehow conditioning Lang's dog in just a couple of seconds is pretty out there. Even the suspicious van can be explained quite easily since the device shown in the video was just a film camera on a gimbal, not some high-tech thermal imaging sensor. As for why they were shooting like that from a vehicle, they were likely indie filmmakers who just didn't have the proper permissions from the city.
Or they all could have been stalkers and clucking them up. That's what I believe. That's the only thing I believe.
However, all of this is just conjecture on my part. The real evidence that proves Lang's deteriorating mental state is the fact that he turned off the cameras he had in his home a day before the incident. The last saved footage on these cameras was of him sitting with a kitchen knife in his hand. Not only that, but when the fire department arrived on the scene, all the entrances to his home were barricaded securely from the inside. If this was truly a murder, the killer wouldn't have been able to escape the crime scene without removing one of these barricades. Ultimately, if there was some big murder conspiracy behind Lang's death, I doubt we'll learn about it over 8 years later.
Jesus.
Evil Stick. In November of 2014, Nicole Allen purchased a pink princess wand for a 2-year-old daughter at the dollar store in Linden Avenue in Kettering.
Okay.
The name of the wand was Evil Stick, which is quite bizarre.
So it's a cluck stick. Out of all names you could have went with, you chose Evil Stick. Who in their right? I was gonna say who in their right mind would buy that, but I know who would buy that. Cluck asses.
But likely went unnoticed by Nicole. However, the stick also promised things like luster, beauty, and wonderful music. The box art also featured the character Sakura Kinomoto, who is the protagonist of a popular Japanese animated show called Cardcaptor Sakura. In the show, Sakura is essentially a magical princess. So, the inclusion of just a cute-looking character made Nicole drop her guard even further. But she couldn't have been more wrong. The thing is, the inclusion of this character on the box art suggested an Asian origin for the product. And looking back, the Evil Stick does have a small, and I do mean small, resemblance to one of the wands Sakura uses in the show. The Evil Stick was most definitely a bootleg version of a product that should have looked something like this had it been official. However, the Evil Stick was much more sinister than just being a bad product. Unlike its official counterparts, the manufacturers of the Evil Stick bootleg had free reign to do whatever they wanted. And it's what they chose to do with this freedom that was utterly disturbing. You see, the top of the wand had a shiny foil fitted in, likely to imitate the shiny star in the official wand. However, this foil was hiding an image under it, and when Nicole's daughter accidentally removed the foil while playing with the wand, she was greeted with a downright disturbing image of a creepy-looking woman.
That looks familiar. I think I've seen something like this in a video or something. It's still scary nonetheless. Is she harming herself? Is she cutting her?
Slitting her own wrist. This was likely petrifying for the little girl, but that wasn't all. If you pressed the button on the wand, instead of the wonderful music it promised, the wand played a haunting laugh. This also turned on a light behind the creepy image, so the little girl would have likely seen it even if she hadn't removed the foil.
Jesus! You got it! Next video! Next video! Come on!
When Nicole found out about the disturbing truth, she made her findings public in hopes of getting this creepy toy banned from stores. News coverage of the evil stick quickly went viral, but the toy remained as mysterious as it was creepy. And the disturbing image concealed within the toy was traced back to French photographer Butcher Ludwig, who appears to be a master of creating the most nightmarish artworks one can imagine. Nearly all of his work is too graphic for YouTube. For most of them, however, even a quick glance is enough to trigger your fight or flight response. As for why the gory, horror-filled work of his photograph was stolen to be included in a children's toy, no one knows for sure. The only other thing people learned about the evil stick after examining its package was that it was manufactured in China, and that's it. The packaging didn't have the name of the manufacturer. I even looked up the universal product code embedded in its barcode and couldn't find any relevant information through that either. This is just one of those things that really makes you wonder what other disturbing mysteries are hidden inside cheap children's toys.
Oh my God. Oh my. Like, who is the one or peoples that designed this and was like, all right, bet, this it, this the one. This the one. And then you got that one character from SpongeBob that had on like SpongeBob had on like spiky cleats from this guy. I don't know. He was trying to rob SpongeBob's house, but like I don't know how to explain it. But he was like, excellent. Bunch of cluck asses made this. That's insane. That's it. I'm not gonna hold you. Let me see. This first one with the volleyball. Government was on that shit like white on rice, trying to cover that up. And it's probably still covered up. You probably have to go above and beyond, and probably like the dark web or some shit to find any information on it. Cause how does something like that happened that bad? How does something like that just like you? It's not on the internet at all. But there's other stuff like this, similar to this, at schools that you can find. But it's not like this specific article is not online. Like what? I feel like old boy digging up graves. Karma's gonna be a motherfucker if it hasn't hit you already for the rest of your life. Jesus. Again, with these sound effects in the sky, I'm kind of 50-50 on that because there's a lot of good editors that can put sounds in here. And so this would be one of those instances where I would have to hear it for myself. I'm not gonna hold you. If I went outside and I heard some trumpets loud as hell, like loud as hell in the sky, I would have thought it would have been raps for everybody. Rapture and all, like on me. Jesus. I want to say for this not this last one, but for this one right here, he definitely got stalked by multiple people. You can't convince me otherwise. And a whole bunch of cluck asses made that toy. Jesus. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy. My family.